2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome into it. Hey, happy Thursday. It's a pre-Friday celebration, man. I'm all over the place. We got plenty to talk about and get to today. It's going to be a fun one. U.S. Senator Roger Marshall from the state of Kansas. He'll be joining us at the bottom of the hour as we talk about the latest out of Washington, D.C. Apparently no pathway to reopening the federal government right now with DHS funding. That's interesting. Plus, I wanted to get to the SAVE Act yesterday. Didn't get a chance to do it. We'll cover it today and a heck of a lot more. That being said,
30 seconds till broadcast.
Make sure to like it out, share it out, leave that comment, break the algorithm. Let's do this thing for a pre-Fridays. Hang tight. Here we go.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Broadcasting from the heart of the nation, the next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
Yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Welcome into it. It is your pre-Friday celebration. It's the voice of reason. I'm Andy Hooser. What is up? It's great to have you along for the ride as usual. You see the light at the end of the tunnel ready to carpe diem all over this place, which is what we get excited about each and every day. Broadcasting out of the heart of the nation in Wichita, Kansas on our flagship radio station. But we are all over the country with so many great radio affiliates doing the thing.
Do it live!
Like we do every single day here on the program. We got a bigly one lined up for you today. U.S. Senator Roger Marshall, my senator here from the great state of Kansas. He'll be joining us and get a Washington, D.C. update. Department of Homeland Security still shut down. Democrats say there's no pathway right now to reopen that. They've opened up a Pandora's box, and I'm here to tell you, we'll break it down in just a bit. They are going down a road. If they want to go down this road, then that's cool. And I really hope Republicans take advantage of the situation. Never let a crisis go to waste, right? That's what they always tell us. It's time for us to do the same thing on our end of the aisle. So we will get to that. Also, the SAVE Act, which we will talk about in just a minute. We'll ask that with U.S. Senator Roger Marshall as well. Iran update and so much more. So plenty to cover, little time to do it. Let's jump right into it as usual with our What's Trending story of the day.
What's trending today?
But before we get to the SAVE Act, there was a podcast interview, and I find this comment really intriguing. As you know, MSNBC has changed the way that they've branded themselves. They're no longer MSNBC. They are now MS Now. Apparently, that's way more authoritative. I'm from MS Now. That's what you want to do. Cool. Okay. But MS Now, one of the journalists, and I say that in very loosey-goosey air terms here, that Chris Hayes, a commentator and a journalist for MS Now, was on a podcast. And the podcast was asking about the presidential race in 2028, speculation with different candidates, and was talking about Gavin Newsom and said something quite intriguing where he has made the claim that Gavin Newsom could be struggling in the Democrat primaries and struggled to win the election because of moderate voters, because he is, according to him, he is a moderate, but he's played off as a radical left-wing progressive, saying that he's got the same problem as Hillary Clinton.
Tell me what you think about Gavin Newsom.
I think Newsom has the Hillary Clinton problem, which is that Hillary Clinton was perceived outside of the Democratic Party and Democratic coalition as like the ultimate lib.
Okay. This is going to get interesting. This is going to blow your mind, man. I always try to. This is kind of a show of psychology. We try to understand the mindset, how you get from point A to point B, how you do your logical or cognitive thinking or lack thereof based on the comments that are made. So, according to him, like Hillary Clinton, who was, by the way, a very radical progressive, and for her time, a very radical progressive indeed. Her husband, while he seemed pretty radical at the time of the presidency, compared to today's times, kind of moderate, right? I mean, times change. And Bill Clinton was pretty radical at his time, considered a moderate now, but Hillary even was further left of Bill Clinton when she was running for president against Donald Trump in the first time. So, yeah, she was pretty much a radical. And according to him, he says that she was pretty much a moderate, but was deemed as a radical that made it very difficult for her to actually win the election. Not because of the fraud or anything else. It was because she was deemed as a radical.
Hillary Clinton was perceived outside of the Democratic Party and Democratic coalition as like the ultimate lib, like the libbiest lib who ever lived, and was never actually like that much of a lib. It was like, and also had a record that was like fairly centrist, particularly as a U.S. senator. And that's like the worst uncanny valley for a Democratic politician to be in, where the base doesn't trust you because you don't have a kind of organic relationship with like the left parts of the party. And then the swing voter like just thinks like that's a lib.
All right. So that's his interpretation of where Gavin Newsom is that he's fallen into this same pigeonhole of what Hillary Clinton did back in 2015, and that he's more of a moderate, but he's portrayed as a radical progressive, so he doesn't have a good relationship with the base of the Democrat Party, and he's going to have a hard time winning over the independent moderate in the moderate votes. Now, I can see the fact that he's going to have a hard time winning over the moderate and independent votes, because all you have to do is look at the state of California and be like, wow, things are a little crazy out there. Maybe we shouldn't elect their leader that's been doing that to that place like California, you know? Kind of common sense. So he is struggling on that front. But to say that he's a moderate that's been deemed as a radical, times have changed since the time of Hillary Clinton running in 2016. Times have changed since she was a senator. Times have changed since Bill Clinton was a president back in the 1990s. Times have changed pretty dramatically. And now the Democrat Party is the radical progressive movement. The Democrat Party is the radical left-wingers that really want a radical left-winger to represent them. Point in case, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Point in case, Zohran Mamdani. Even point in case, Chuck Schumer, who's adapted to his years in politics to try to appeal to this radical base now, which is why we're seeing what we're seeing right now. So I don't know that the radicalism would necessarily deter Gavin Newsom, but he is working really, really hard to try to appeal to a more broader base, which is why he came out against the wealth tax that's going on in the state of California that the legislature is trying to work on right now because, oh, it would drive away workers and businesses. It would, but Democrats don't say that kind of stuff. So it's an interesting perspective, and especially from a more radical left-wing type of news source like MS Now, with Chris Hayes on this podcast saying that that's the pigeonhole that he's going to be in. He's kind of sort of right, but he's not right on where the stance of the party is right now and why that would be a challenge for someone like Gavin Newsom, because the radicalism has taken hold, and that leads us to what's going on in D.C. right now.
What's trending today?
You want to talk about radicalism? I want to go to Chuck Schumer, who yesterday was out there talking to the media regarding this SAVE Act, and you want to talk about a hyperbolic, ridiculous rhetoric that has been so over the top. I mean, this is like Grandpa's going to be thrown underneath a bridge because we just don't care about old people anymore type of rhetoric. This is insane with what Chuck Schumer said yesterday.
Yes, but their bill isn't voter ID, number one. It is about voter registration. It makes it allows ICE.
Allows ICE. Now, hold on. Again, ICE. Remember, Immigration Customs Enforcement, not voter integrity law enforcement. The agency that's getting bad guys and illegal aliens and criminal illegal aliens off the streets of America. I don't know why we have to describe this, but apparently we do, because what he's about to say next is going to blow your mind.
ICE to kick tens of millions of people off the rolls, and they don't tell them until Election Day, and you show up and you say, You're not registered anymore. You're not registered here. You're not on the rolls.
You're not on the rolls. You're not registered anymore. You just show up and you're like, sorry, you're not on the rolls anymore. I didn't know I wasn't registered. Oh my gosh. This is the same kind of rhetoric we heard, by the way, during the abortion conversation. And every time that we get rid of a big umbrella federal government regulation, we bring it back down to the states. People aren't going to know what to do. They're too stupid to figure it out. It's the same rhetoric. And they've used the rhetoric for voter ID in the first place as, obviously women and minority individuals are too poor and too stupid to figure out how to get a state-issued ID and verify themselves like they do with every other aspect of their life on a regular basis. But when it comes to voter ID, which is the same ID, you just verify it when you register to vote. That's all. That's all that is. They're too stupid and too poor to figure out how to do that. They do it when they fly, or when they get their driver's license, or when they get their bus tickets, or when they apply for a loan, or when they get in a house or an apartment. Everything else in life, that you verify that with your ID, and in order to get your ID, you verify who you are with name changes and birth certificates or whatever else that you possibly have. Too stupid, too poor to figure it out now. But now the rhetoric's taken it to another level, where he says that ICE is now going to boot tens of millions of people off the voter rolls. I didn't realize that was the role of ICE, number one. And number two, if someone is on the voter roll, that's an illegal alien because that's their area of expertise, then they probably shouldn't be there in the first place, right? So did he misspeak here, or did he let the cat out of the bag of exactly what they're trying to do? Because then, of course, it's the hyperbolic, I have no clue. I was completely blindsided by this. I'm too stupid to read the headlines and figure out what's going on, or to listen to any bit of media, or to listen to any of my state Secretary of States in my state to tell me, hey, you need to verify who you are if you have had a name change, which, again, most people have already done that in the first place. So I'm just going to show up to the voter rolls and the polls on that day and realize I'm not registered any longer. The hyperbolic rhetoric is absolutely insane, and I don't think people are buying it. Now, here's the thing. Never let a crisis go to waste, right? That's the political term, and that's the narrative that we can run with here as Republicans for Senate Majority Leader John Thune. Hint, hint, wink, wink, is that we can actually run with this narrative to show how out of touch they are when over 80% of Americans, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, both, all of them support something like the voter ID and the SAVE Act right now. As according to John Thune, who is on the Senate floor, finally starting to address the SAVE Act after so much pressure. And before we play his clip, I want to applaud you as the voter, you as the activist, you as the person that is somewhat even semi-engaged, because they would not move an inch on this thing unless we continue to call their offices, we continue to ask them every time we talk about it, every time we talk to an elected official, that this is topic numero uno, and that we make it such a big deal they cannot ignore it and just, oops, we forgot, we didn't have enough time. Oh no, we didn't have the votes. I guess we better just let it go and fall to the wayside. We're not letting that happen. So, I don't know how many weeks now that we've discussed the idea of the SAVE Act. John Thune, Senate Majority Leader, finally today speaking on the Senate floor and saying, yeah, we should probably do this.
The Democrat leader has been calling this bill Jim Crow 2.0, a phrase that is not only deeply irresponsible and insulting to those who actually lived through that dark chapter in our history, but also insults the overwhelming majority of Americans, including minorities, who look at voter ID and see nothing more than common sense. In fact, Mr. President, I can really see only two reasons for Democrats opposing this legislation. Either Democrats are just reflexively opposing this proposal because it originated from Republicans,
Which is possible.
or Democrats believe that there are, in fact, people out there voting illegally and that it's benefiting Democrats.
Also very possible.
And they want to keep it going.
And they want to keep it going. So John Thune, for the first time as I'm aware of, on the Senate floor actually talking about this issue. Now, he's not forcing a filibuster. He's not forcing them to do a vote on it right now. He's not forcing a government shutdown in the fact. He's not even talking about attaching it to the FISA funding, which has been a conversation from someone like on the House side with Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. But he is talking about the SAVE Act here for the first time. And we have an opportunity. And I really hope, hint, hint, wink, wink, again, Republicans listening to this program, which we do have a few elected officials that pay attention to us, that there's an opportunity for a narrative right now, which is multiple different facets. Number one, the fact that Democrats are completely out of touch because 80% of Americans actually want the SAVE Act to be passed. Number two, the hyperbolic, insane rhetoric of Chuck Schumer saying that ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, is going to boot millions of people off the voter rolls, which is a telltale sign that an illegal alien is going to be voting and on the voter rolls right now. And while they scream to the cows come home that that's not the case, why would you even be concerned about ICE being at voter roll places and polling places or booting people off of voter rolls? Because they only deal with what? Only deal with illegal aliens. That's it. That's all they do. They're federal law enforcement for illegal aliens. So if they're involved in some fashion, then there's someone that's not supposed to be here. Period. And if that's what they're concerned about, then they either let the cat out of the bag or they have no clue what this conversation's even about. So we have an opportunity to really force their hand. Make the vote happen, because I'm telling you, even if we don't get it across the aisle before the midterm election in November, if we force a vote and get people on the record, then that's going to bode very well for us in the election season to show, hey, they do not want voter ID because they are playing games, and we're going to expose this. And I can smell the panic and desperation from the other side of the aisle. Lots more coming up. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When America builds, the world follows. Our energy powered the 20th century. We've set the standard for generations, and we never waited for permission. But now, we're being held back. Outdated rules, endless delays. Without permitting reform, Washington's red tape is slowing us down while other nations race ahead. It doesn't have to be this way. We can clear the way for energy that's affordable, reliable, and built right here. Because what's built here is felt here. Lower costs, more jobs, stronger communities. That's what permitting reform makes possible. Energy didn't just shape our country, it powered the American dream. And with our innovation, we can lead the 21st century. Congress has a choice. Build America's energy future or risk falling behind. Tell Congress, pass permitting reform now.
Hey, did you know that you can have multiple different networks on one single smartphone? Well, with Patriot Mobile, you can. It's time for you to sign up for the Patriot Mobile primary phone plan with plans as low as $15 a month, where you can have 2 numbers and 2 networks on one single phone. And right now, if you sign up using the promo code REASON, you can get an entire month absolutely free. It's the Patriot Mobile One plan. 1 phone, 2 numbers, and 2 networks. And it's all at patriotmobile.com/reason. Again, patriotmobile.com, and use the promo code REASON. As you know, I'm always looking for a good snack, but it's hard to find good quality snacks without all the unhealthy additives. But now that problem is over. It's time to enjoy J&S Smoked Snacks. Real cuts of beef, real wood smoke, and real flavor that's crafted in small batches to keep every bag fresh. I promise you'll be addicted. And with numerous different flavors, you'll never get enough. This is not your average gas station jerky. It's J&S Smoked Snacks. Find them online at jssmokedsnacks.com and tell them I sent you.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? How did 2 guys in a cramped California garage reimagine the phone and put the power of the universe at our fingertips? At Americans for Prosperity, we believe greatness can happen anywhere. We just need freedom and the opportunity to make it real. But today, with a rigid system stifling progress, limiting creativity, and holding us back. That's why at AFP, we offer solutions that tackle the most critical challenges facing our country, so there's nothing standing in the way of America's next breakthrough. Because what we build today doesn't just shape the future, it defines it. How will you be defined? Take your first step today with Americans for Prosperity.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
When reason meets radio. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
That there's no evidence of any non-citizens voting where it's swayed the outcome of an election. I mean, even the Heritage Foundation looked this up and said they only found 100 instances of non-citizen voter fraud since the year 2000. That's out of 1.5 billion ballots that were cast.
So what are you afraid of? What are Democrats afraid of?
Well, it's not me. I'm not a lawmaker voting on it. I think the question is,
but you're making the argument. You're making their argument, which is your job. But again, 70% of Democrats, 80% of Americans want voter ID. And if they want to debate some of these other issues about absentee ballots, about proof of citizenship, let's debate it. But have you heard one Democrat say, a Democrat senator say, I want voter ID, that I want to make sure that our elections have integrity, that it's so important? Instead, they just throw up their hands at everything. So why don't they come to the table, come across the table, across the aisle, and let's make our elections have more integrity.
All right, so that was U.S. Senator Roger Marshall. Well done, by the way. We'll be chatting with him here in just a couple of minutes at the bottom of our hour, right around the corner in just a few minutes. But that was him sitting down with Caitlin Collins on CNN, and well done. That's a great point. Well, there's no proof of any voter fraud actually happening from illegal aliens or from anybody else. There's no proof. In fact, there's been very few. Well, then what's the problem? Why wouldn't we just verify? Again, we got to go back to the Constitution here. The one stipulation on voting is the fact that you're a U.S. citizen. Well, two, you're a U.S. citizen and you're abiding by the jurisdiction thereof. That's it. Those are the only stipulations. And it's been up to the states to verify. And in fact, now we have some cities and some states that have actually put laws in place that say you're not allowed to show proof of voter ID in some fashion or proof of self or identification in any fashion in order to go and vote. And that's a problem because that is a violation of Constitution saying that that is one stipulation. If you're there and you're valid, cool. All the power to you. We want you to go and vote. And if there's no cases of it, which we don't know, by the way, because every time we've tried to study it, it's been blocked. If you remember under Trump admin number 1, and our current, my attorney general here in Kansas, Chris Kobach right now, he was working with the Trump administration, and they had their Election Integrity Commission where they were going to try and look at voter rolls from every state and compare them and make sure everything's fine, check out the voter rolls, make sure people weren't deceased that were still on there and so on and so, or moving from state to state, whatever the case was. The ACLU filed lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit to try and stop it because, well, no, that's a violation of the privacy of individuals' data, and you can't verify. Now, we already have the data. We're just cross-referencing it. But they didn't like it. They kind of lost their minds, got very angry about that idea. So we don't know the fraud because we've never been allowed to actually study it. And there's a big difference. You can say there's no fraud going on, because there's no study to prove one way or the other. So like, oh, we don't have any evidence. Kind of like with Big Pharma, with injections and with pharmaceuticals. Well, we don't have any evidence that shows that pharmaceuticals and vaccines are bad for you because we're not allowed to study them. That would be why. Very strange. We'll talk with Senator Marshall about that here in just a few minutes. But right now, as you know, Department of Homeland Security is still shut down. There was a comment from, and who was this again? This was a hat tip to Fox News on one of their stories, that apparently there's a Democrat that says they want to, quote, peel apart piece by piece the funding for Department of Homeland Security while Homeland is under attack. That headline from Fox News saying that they want to go through this appropriations bill piece by piece, line by line. They want to reform ICE. They want to do all these major reforms. And I find that funny because if you want to do that, let's do it. Let's go. As Republicans have been looking to try and cut funding, as Republicans have been trying to find more transparency in government and consolidate departments and consolidate agencies and make things run better and actually cut and trim out of the budget, let's do it. And we're not going to just stop there at the Department of Homeland Security. We need to go back. If we're going to go down that road, not just for ICE, because that's what obviously their target is, but they're going to set themselves up for disaster moving forward. Because if we do that and if we go piece by piece, line by line for every bit of funding from the federal government, then you can imagine I'm all down for it. Let's go, baby. Let's do it for every agency, every appropriations bill, every department, every program, everything. And it may take us 10 years, but we're going to set the budget on autopilot until we figure it out, and we are going to make sure that we cut every little bit we possibly can. So be careful what you wish for.
Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Miss any part of the show? Well, don't worry. Now's your chance to go find the podcast and listen to as much of the Voice of Reason as you'd like. As the show continues to grow all across the nation with great radio affiliates, we also continue to grow as one of the top conservative podcasts, ranked 5th on the MillionPodcast.com Best 50 Conservative Leadership Podcasts in the nation, and number 1 on FeedSpot.com's 30 Best Conservative Talk Shows in the country. The show continues to grow each and every day. Just find us on any of your favorite podcasting sites at The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
truth, reason, and common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, welcome back to the program. Moving through the day today for a pre-Friday celebration. Plenty to get to, and obviously a lot going on in Washington, D.C. with government shutdown, the passage of the SAVE Act, the issues with Iran, and so much more. So we got to get an update from Washington, D.C. with one of our great friends here on the program as we go to our...
Let's go to the Hoosier Media Hotline.
That's right. He is my senator from right here in the great state of Kansas. It's U.S. Senator Roger Marshall on the line with us today. Senator, how are you, my friend?
Andy, I'm doing great. It's been a busy week, and I still think we're going in the right direction. This big ship we call America, we're turning it around. Our families are safer. The economy's starting to turn around, but we got some really good challenges ahead of us to talk about today.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, great momentum. We're moving in the right direction, but we have some things to focus on. Let's focus on right now the quick government shutdown. DHS still not funded right now. From what we've heard from Senator John Thune, Senate Majority Leader, is the fact that Democrats wanted to negotiate. You guys agreed to negotiate, and now they're pulling out of negotiations. Are we going to see the government open up fully anytime soon here?
Andy, I want to put an exclamation mark here. The Democrats have not sat down with any Republican to negotiate since the shutdown started. None. Zero. The president gave them an offer. They've never commented on it. They've never said what they don't like about it. We would have three people in the Senate to negotiate this. Our subcommittee appropriations chairperson, Katie Britt, the appropriations chairman, Susan Collins, and then, of course, our leadership, John Barrasso and John Thune. And they've made multiple overtures to reach out to their counterparts in the Democrat Party and say, let's discuss this. But every day they do this, they put their politics ahead of the safety and security of Americans.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really unfortunate. What is their end goal? Because we hear from them, of course, we just want to do some slight reforms with ICE, and we want them to wear body cams. We want a transition of what their uniforms look like. But then we hear from the radicals, of course, that say we're not happy until we completely abolish immigration customs enforcement. What is the end goal for Democrats, or do we even know right now?
Yeah, and I'm going to go back to politics. Their end goal is to get more popularity by their radical base, that every one of them is running for every senator up here thinks they're going to be the next president. So when you got to win a primary, you got to get further and further left. So they are scared to death. If they support funding DHS, if they support the SAVE Act, if they support our military in Iran, is that number one, it shuts off their funding from their base, their campaign funding, and number two is the legacy media. And then the CNN and MSNBCs of the world will persecute them tonight on national TV. So they're not voting their conscience. Look, how in the world can you not fund DHS in the current situation where these sleeper cells? I'm probably more concerned about sleeper cells in America than I am Iran's ability to project power right now in the Middle East.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, we have threats. We had the bombing in New York. We've apparently, according to some of the security departments, said that we've intercepted some conversation about activating sleeper cells around here. That I think Homeland Security is kind of an important aspect for us right now. How much funding do we have left in these agencies before we completely run dry?
That's a good question, and I'm trying to think through my numbers right now. But FEMA is down to less than $4 billion. And that's just one tornado ripping through the state of Kansas to zero that out as well. Now, the irony is we do have funding for ICE. We did that in our working family tax cuts bill. So the Democrats really aren't ICE. Who they're hurting are all these other, the FEMAs of the world and the Coast Guard and TSA as well. So with TSA, so they missed their first full paycheck now, and I don't blame them. There are going to be more and more sick days. We'll call them Chuck Schumer-itis days for Schumer not funding them, that they're going to stay home sick as well, and we're starting to see it. I don't think it ends until enough people from New York or some of these really blue states call their senator and say, look, enough is enough. You've proven your point. Open up the airports again for us.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, they don't like to shut down or end the shutdown until they get enough pressure from people and actually inflict enough pain on people. And right now we haven't seen that. So I guess we have a little ways to go. We're talking with U.S. Senator Roger Marshall from right here in the state of Kansas. Let's go to the SAVE Act for a moment. Donald Trump calls it one of the most popular bills, which is true. We've seen the polls. 80% of the average American, over 90% of Republicans, 78% of Democrats support the idea of voter ID. But yet Democrats continue to say, especially in the Senate, there's no way that we're going to pass the SAVE Act, and they're calling it Jim Crow Laws 2.0. Senator, what the heck? I know you guys punted it till next week, but why are they putting up a wall so bad on this one?
Well, Andy, they're fighting. Republicans are fighting to protect American citizens, but the Democrats are fighting to protect illegal voters. The Democrats are fighting to protect illegal voters. The real issue is this. Why won't 10 Democrats come across the aisle and vote yes for this when over 70% of Democrats support voter ID? Look, if they want to object to some other pieces of the bill, I would say there's three main pillars to the bill. If they want to object to them, then great. But if you heard one Democrat senator say publicly, I support voter ID. Over 30 states have voter ID. Kansas has had it since, I believe, 2015. And there's been no suppression of the voters, of our number two voting. Yeah. It just brings more integrity. And one more quick point. 60% of Americans have concerns about election integrity right now. 60%. I didn't create that. And perception's reality. If we don't have election integrity, then we don't have a free democracy.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It needs to happen. It's kind of common sense. I mean, we've talked about on the program a lot that there's one stipulation in the Constitution when it comes to voting, that you have to be a U.S. citizen. We need to find a way to verify that one stipulation, and that's really not that difficult to do. So here's the question, Senator, is how do we go about this? We don't have the filibuster supermajority votes of the 60 votes in the Senate to make it happen. How do we force a filibuster to happen to get these Democrats on record to vote against a bill that's extremely popular?
Yeah, Andy, well, there's no easy way. Despite, I think, what some other folks are saying out there, there's no easy way to accomplish this. We have the votes to pass the SAVE Act. Well, we have 50. We have 50 votes right now, and as you know, it would take 60. I think it'll be easier to get 10 Democrats to come across than us to get rid of the zombie filibuster. And my gosh, for me to explain the filibuster rule, it goes back to 1917 is really when they implemented this zombie filibuster that you don't have to be there. As opposed to we envision in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, he stands up and talks till he's exhausted, and then we get to vote. Right. So what we would like to go back to the talking filibuster that makes you stand up there until you're exhausted. And if all 50 or if all 47 of them want to stand up and do that for a day each, then so be it. I'm willing to do it. But there's so many parliamentarian procedures they can do. They can break this up by adding amendment after amendment, and there'll be some really bad amendments that we'll have to vote for. That it's really next to impossible to change this unless we don't have 50 Republicans that want to get rid of this zombie filibuster.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. There's a push from the House side of things. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna that has thrown out the idea of attaching the SAVE Act to the FISA renewals and the FISA courts and FISA funding. Would that be something that you think would be able to kind of force the hands of Democrats to get on board with it?
I'd have to think. I mean, I think it's a gamble. It's a chess play. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that they'll take that the voter right now. The SAVE Act is a poison pill to them. Mm-hmm. You could attach it to curing cancer, and they probably wouldn't vote for it.
Wow.
And you again, why won't they come to the table if they don't like part of the requirements on the citizenship part of registering to vote? Now, I'll go down on that. I'll die on that sword trying to make it happen. But maybe we grandfather in some people. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a way to get them to at least do a voter ID. I want to get them on record voting against. I want to get them on record voting against voter ID.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's not going to bode well for them in the midterm elections for sure. We're talking with U.S. Senator Roger Marshall. Let's shift gears. The big story, obviously, that's been going on, the conflict in Iran. I know you guys voted, and rightfully so, to allow the president to keep doing what he's doing, making these decisions with the ongoing conflict right now. We've seen us go, 50 members deep into their ranks for the leadership of the Ayatollah. We're waiting for them to completely surrender. But according to the Secretary of War, according to President Donald Trump, that we are ahead of schedule, that this is not going to be a long-term conflict, and we're winning this, according to the rally that we saw in Kentucky last night. What are your thoughts on this right now? Are we in a good position from where we were planning on being at this time?
Yeah, no doubt, Andy. I think that we've destroyed 80, maybe 90% of their offensive capabilities. Let's go back. What appreciate about the president's plan is he's laid out 4 very clear objectives in writing. You know, and basically the first 3: destroy Iran's missiles, destroy their nukes, and destroy their navy. And I think we're 80-90% there. The last one is to prevent them from being able to fund or arm terrorists. And I think we got some work to go for that one. But I do think we're ahead of timeline. And I just want your listeners to understand my feelings about war in general. And you know, I was an officer in the military. My dad served, my brother served, my son is serving, and they were all enlisted people.
Yeah.
I really take it to heart every soldier we lose. We've lost 7 soldiers. I mourn their loss. I feel responsible as a former officer and now a member of the United States Senate. You know, President Eisenhower once said that I hate war as only a soldier who lived it can, with all its brutality, futility, and stupidity. So, and Andy, I hate war. But Iran declared war on us 47 years ago.
Yeah.
You could go through the history here, but I lived this history. I was in college when they stormed our embassy and took 60-some Americans hostage for 444 days. I was in medical school when they bombed the Marine barracks in Lebanon, and we lost 241 Marines. Over the last 3 years, Iran has launched 140 attacks on our military overseas. This is a war that they started. We turned the other cheek. We've negotiated. We've exhausted everything. And my hope and prayer is President Trump's actions lead to decades of safety for Americans. And thank God to every one of my troops that are serving. Even though I hate war, no one's going to support the military any louder and stronger than the Marshall family.
Amen to that. Senator, hang on the line. Got to take a break. Back after this for the Voice of Reason.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left finds new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back. And that's where we can help. Head to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can find our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Let us know your thoughts on current events with different surveys and chat rooms. And keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Plus, when you head to the website, you can always get great deals and different offers from all of our great radio partners. Finally, if you want more of the show, you can find our podcasts with all of our great episodes and your favorite guests. And make sure to check out the latest Voice of Reason infomercials and maybe some other special content. And it's all because of you being part of the Hoosier-holic family. Let's continue to fight for conservative common sense principles together by going to HooserReason.com. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? Our country's greatest breakthroughs were born from bold ideas and the ability to take one small step forward. At Americans for Prosperity, freedom and opportunity find their defenders. Because our country's next giant leap is just around the corner. Are you ready to step up?
Hey, the live show may be almost over today, but it doesn't have to be for you. As always, enjoy the Voice of Reason with our daily podcast by finding the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser on any of your favorite podcasting sites. Just find us, subscribe, have it automatically downloaded, and listen at your convenience whenever you want to bring some more reason into your day. And a lot of people are doing it. Also, you can always find the video of the show, along with articles, additional commentary, and maybe a few sarcastic remarks by following us on our social media. Stay up to date with everything going on with the show, including upcoming guests, breaking news stories, interesting articles, and maybe some memes. Help us in the ongoing battle with censorship and shadow banning from social media by following us on the social media at Hooser Reason on all of our social media sites. For all these social media links, podcast links, contact information, or just general information of the show, go to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can listen live every day, read our latest monthly blog, find our radio affiliate list, or even listen to our latest infomercials and special content. Plus, you can always reach out to the program by sending me a message on social media, emailing us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or sending an email through our website at HooserReason.com. Whether it's content on the show, whether it's a guest that you've liked or disliked, or whether you want to disagree with me, and disagreement's always appreciated. While you're there, make sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. Each month you'll get the latest update on the show, updates from the Hooser Media Network, and our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Finally, if you want to help support the show, become a member of our Patreon site and help us fight for the cause of truth, reason, and common sense every day, and get more of the same by becoming the ultimate Hoosierholic. Get additional interviews that sometimes we don't always get to air on the radio. Hear our special segments or even our infomercials before anyone else, and have a chance to chat with other great Hoosierholics from all over. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, you're not only helping the fight for conservative values, you're helping us get more content and information out through the Hooser Media Network. Find out more information online at HooserReason.com. Lastly, follow and support all of our partners with the show. The Voice of Reason has been growing more and more every year, and it's because of so many great partners helping us get the message out to you. From show partners to local radio affiliates in your area to streaming sites, podcasting sites, and more, we have so many supporters and listeners now than ever before, and we want to thank you. It's time to bring back common sense, and we do it right here every day with the Voice of Reason.
America's safe space for common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, welcome back to it. Great to have you here as usual for a pre-Friday celebration, moving through your Thursday for the Voice of Reason. Great conversation we're having right now with U.S. Senator Roger Marshall, my senator here from the great state of Kansas. Government shutdown, SAVE Act being punted till next week. We'll see how that one pans out. And right now we're talking about the ongoing conflict with Iran. And as you mentioned going into the break, Senator, I agree with you. I think the majority of people right now still support the conflict. We do have a little bit of that PTSD, concerned about long-term conflicts like we had seen, early 2000s, that 20-year war in the Middle East. We don't want to see that. But right now, we're not doing that. We're moving in the right direction, and we're actually de-radicalizing the Middle East, which I think is kind of a good thing, isn't it?
It is. I think the conclusion of this war will be the most stable we've seen the Middle East in centuries, perhaps. I think there's much potential for the Abraham Accords as well. I just want to caution your listeners, don't let the national media fool you what's going on here. Of course, President Trump is not going to put every card on the table. He's not going to tell the enemy what we will and what we won't do. But based upon everything I've ever known from President Trump, he does not want a long, drawn-out war. He does not want boots on the ground, but he can't take anything off the table.
Right.
I'm not going to box him in. I'm not going to draw a red line. I'm going to support our troops. I'm going to support our president. And they'll say, they're saying there's different messages. Look, Pete Hegseth one and only one goal in life, and General Kane is to put their foot on the neck of their enemy right now. They need to go as hard and as fast as they can go until the president says stop. Yeah. So, of course, when they're in front of a microphone, they're in offensive mode. They're not sitting there worrying about, when do we quit? Well, we're going to quit when the president says quit. Right. And it's going to be a gut call. He described his goals, and it's a day-to-day thing. War is not that simple. And last thing I'll say is, the national media is trying to convince you that there shouldn't be any pain in life. Could you imagine going to our grandparents back in World War II and saying, hey, you don't need to sacrifice?
That's right.
My grandma left the farm to go be a Rosie the Riveter. Leaving my dad to take care of the cows, that type of thing. Uncles off to war. But Americans have had to sacrifice. We're hoping this is a short-term sacrifice, minimal loss of life, in hopes of decades of freedom and safety for Americans.
Yeah, that's it. And the best part, I got to say, Senator, and then we'll move on and wrap up, is the best story I've heard from the mainstream media is criticizing the Secretary of War for purchasing millions of dollars in steak and lobster and then blaming him for eating all of it himself and not giving any of it to the troops. That's been the best story I've heard so far.
No, I missed that one, Andy. I'll take your word at it. I just have a feeling that Pete, Secretary Hegseth is locked in on this war, and yes, I want to feed our troops well. They deserve everything that they're getting right now.
They deserve that one. That's right. Last question for you, Senator. We got just about a minute left here, but I want to talk now. Obviously, we have the shutdown, we have the SAVE Act, we have Iran, we have a lot of things going on right now. There has been conversation since the beginning of the year, though. Is Congress working on a replacement health care reform bill? Is that still in the conversation right now?
Absolutely. I think it'll have to be done with reconciliation. Our signature legislation for that is our price tax bill that would bring down the cost of health care $1,000 a month per family. It would force every healthcare provider to show you the prices up front. Could you imagine pulling up a gas station this morning and not knowing what the price is until after you pumped it? But what you'll see is three gas stations, on the three corners of a very busy intersection, and one of them's got a price up there of $3 a gallon, and the next one he changes his price to $2.90, and the next one, and it's competition and it's transparency. That will be the flagship. I think there's some real opportunity to bring down the cost of drugs, prescription drugs as well. PBMs take at least 58 cents of every dollar. We're seeing the GLP-1 drugs come down remarkably because of forced competition. It's went from $1,200 a month to $200 a month. Why? Because people are using cash, and there's transparent prices out there, competition and transparency. Hey, it's called the free market.
That's it.
It's worked in every industry in America, but healthcare is the only one that there's no competition and there's no transparency.
Shocker. Capitalism works, and I can't wait to see what that bill looks like moving forward, which I know you guys are working on. There's a lot of things going on in D.C., and people are waiting to see what happens throughout this year. It's U.S. Senator Roger Marshall from the state of Kansas. Always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. Keep up the fight. There's a lot of things going on. We appreciate what you do, and can't wait to talk to you again, my friend.
Thank you so much, Andy. Good to be with you.
Yeah, you bet. Always a pleasure. That's U.S. Senator Roger Marshall, my senator, here from the great state of Kansas with our D.C. update of what the heck's going on in Washington, D.C. They have a lot of long battles to do it, and we want to see some progress. We want to see some action. The Republicans are doing what they can. We got to put some pressure on them to get the job done. We'll cover that and more and get some more updates from them here as we go along. But back at it again tomorrow for a Friday before you know it. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Be that catalyst for change in your own local community. It is The Voice of Reason. I am Andy Hooser. We will see you back here before you know it. See you. Bye.
For too long, Washington has said no to builders, workers, and American families.